Welcome back, trainers. So I made the decision to finally put the remainder rare candies into my Lucario so I can completely max it out. Now, why am I doing this? Just because I personally enjoy Lucario as it performs fantastically being part steel type, mixed with a fighting type as well. Going up against those Blissies, it works quite well, right? Because Psychic is not being super effective as well as Dazzling Gleam. Now, unfortunately for this Pokemon, it does have a one charge bar move for its stab, and that is going to be close combat. The ideal moveset would be Dynamic Punch, but this Pokemon cannot learn that. So maybe, just maybe, that new move that has been found in the network traffic, Power Up Punch, may just be gifted to Lucario. Now, there's another interesting theory that a lot of my commenters have been making, so let me discuss this, and that is going to be a Routes Community Day featuring Gallade. Now, Routes does have a split evolution if you did not know this. If you evolve a Routes that is a male into a male Curlia, it will go into a Gallade, and if you have a female Routes evolve into Curlia, that will evolve into Gardevoir. Now, I do have a male Gardevoir, that's just the way it works because Gallade is not in the game currently, but hopefully when they bring Gallade into Pokemon Go, that is the way it's going to work. So, very interesting, and when would we even see this community day? So we know that December is going to be featuring every Pokemon that we've seen in 2018. Should be a blast, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be a couple days long. After that, we're going to see Totodile, right? And that is going to be in January of 2018. Now, what can we expect in February? Possibly a Routes Community Day? Don't get your hopes up, it's just a thought. With this Power Up Punch being introduced, we kind of see the pattern going down the line here. Just like we've seen with Meteor Mash, it was a dead giveaway as to Metagross's Community Day, and that was put into the network traffic quite a bit before the actual event started. So we're just thinking about that. We'll see what happens. So make sure you save your male Routes or Curlia to get ready for the future for Gallade. Now, is Gallade going to be something you're going to want to power up 6 up, kind of like a Machamp, because it's going to be doing so well? It depends on how good Power Up Punch is. It has the potential to do almost as good if it does receive a decent moveset, but only time will tell when this happens. It's just Machamp is so beastly because of the moveset it has. It's very hard to beat it. Now, if Lucario did receive Aura Sphere for some sort of future community day, which would be absolutely fantastic for sure, because a shiny Lucario is kind of like a neon green, looks great, but nonetheless, it learns counter, right? So Lucario's good on that end. Quick move is good. Charge move. Got Aura Sphere, it would probably be outperforming Machamp. Machamp's attack is barely above Lucario, but the thing is, Lucario has that steel type. So if you were to put a Machamp in a raid up against a maxed out Blissey and then a Lucario, maxed out Blissey, say Lucario had Aura Sphere, okay? And then counter. Machamp had counter Dynamic Punch. Who would take out that Blissey first? That's probably going to be Lucario if they were to not dodge whatsoever, because Machamp simply can't take those Zen Headbutts, and Dazzling Gleams certainly can't take those. Lucario can take him like a champ. It's still going to take a big chunk off its health, but nonetheless it's going to have longer survivability, putting out just about the same amount of damage, making it just as good as Machamp, if not better, because of its typing. So just keep that in mind as well. Currently, in its state that it is, with that close combat, it's not outperforming Machamp. Blaziken is actually doing a little bit more damage as well. Blaziken's just crazy. Alrighty, now it's time to compare stats and see what we have going on here. So Lucario to the left, max CP is going to be 2,703, attack 236, defense 144, and stamina 172. Now Machamp, max CP 3,056, attack 234. As you can see, Lucario's attack is 2 points higher than Machamp. Then Machamp's defense 159 and stamina 207. So that is a pretty good stamina number right there. So if Lucario did have a move that was equivalent on cooldown and damage output to Machamp's Dynamic Punch, Lucario would be the #1 fighting type currently in the game. But unfortunately, thanks to its one charge bar close combat, we have to wait for its community day or whatever happens for it to get a 2 charge bar fighting move in the future, because if it did receive something like Machamp, it would be outperforming it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at their weaknesses and resistances, because this is very important as well. Now, fighting is super effective too. Rock, Dark, Steel, and normal types. Most commonly, you're going to be going up against normal types. And what do those Pokemon have on their movesets? Well, usually Psychic and Fairy. specifically Blissey and Snorlax, equaling longer survivability, okay? So if you're going up against a Rhydon though, for instance, and it had ground moves, it's going to be weak to your fighting, but at the same time, it's going to be super effective to you. Machamp is going to be better in that situation. But going up against other Pokemon that have super effective moves to fighting types, Lucario is going to be outperforming Machamp a little bit better as far as survivability. Now, moving on to Gallade here. This is for the future. Max CP on Glade is going to be 3093, attack 237, defense 195, and stamina 169. So this is a rounded Pokemon. As you can see, it has one more attack than Lucario. So depending upon the moveset that it receives, which I in fact have, thanks to GoHub, we're going to be taking a look at those, we can determine whether or not it's going to be outperforming Lucario or not, okay? So I still think Lucario is going to have better resistances, but Glade is still going to be great because it is going to be a part Psychic type, so it's not going to be taking super effective Psychic moves. Not only that, it has one more attack power than Lucario. Now, here, let's see if it's actually going to work well as far as its moves. So for its quick moves, fighting type only, let's go over that. It's going to have low kick, and then for its charge moves, it's going to have close combat. So low kick will charge that close combat up pretty quickly, but on the flip side, counter is still better. You just want counter. So it doesn't look like it's going to be outperforming it. And also Glade having a higher defense stat, it's going to take just a slightly longer to get up that close combat as opposed to Lucario with that lower defense. That's just the way it works. The lower defense, the faster up that charge bar is going to go up there. So there you have it. Unfortunately, Glade is not going to be on par with Lucario. I mean, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but it's still going to be great, right? And keep in mind, this is also going to happen. Glade is going to receive a Mega Evolution, okay? So is Lucario. And as a matter of fact, Blaziken is going to as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at Blaziken and see what we have. Max CP, 2,848, attack 240, defense 141, and stamina 190. So higher attack than Lucario, and it is going to actually be outperforming it as far as damage goes. Blaziken, that is right. I just personally like Lucario, all right? And both of them will be receiving a Mega, keep that in mind. Now, on to Breloom, which is going to be the highest attack stat out of all the fighting types currently in Pokemon Go. Max CP, 2,628, attack 241, defense 144, and stamina 155. So this did receive a buff during the CP rework and actually is performing a little bit better as far as survivability. So Breloom is fantastic, but just keep in mind it's an extreme glass cannon, kind of like Gengar, but it works great. Now on to Hariyama here, the big boy. Max CP 2,829. Attack 209, defense 114, and stamina 302. So Hariyama is a great fighting option for sure, especially if you're going to be dropping it in a gym with counter dynamic punch or counter heavy slam. Okay, that is a great option. The DPS also is not bad at all. Okay, so this is a great option if you're looking for a fighting type Pokemon and you have some candies and you have, say, a higher CP one already. You may want to use this for whatever situation. If it came down to things where you needed to have the top-notch fighting Pokemon and come down to the last few seconds, this may not be your fighting type to go to, but it's still an all-around pretty good fighting type. And finally, for the top-tier fighting type Pokemon, we have Infernape here, maxing out at its CP 2,683, attack 222, defense 151, and stamina 183. So its attack is on the lower end for sure, but it's not going to be taking super effective hits from Dazzling Gleam. It's not going to be resisted, and the reason why it's not going to be super effective is because it is part fire. So Blaziken isn't horrible. A fantastic looking Pokemon, really looks great. I actually maxed mine out and I'm happy with it, because, you know, max out all the starters. So there you have a little bit of comparison with all of the fighting type Pokemons that are basically meta relevant currently at the moment. So I hope that helped you out, trainers. Alrighty, now let's very quickly go over the fighting type Pokemon I have maxed out and why. So let's start with the Machamps at the top here. 6 of them. Why do I have them all powered up? Because they're so useful against a vast majority of different raids that we've been seeing throughout Pokemon Go's life. And they just keep coming back as to being the #1 counter option. They're just so good with that moveset, and their stats just primo. So that is why I have 6 Machamps powered up. Now once we receive a better fighting type, you know, it is what it is. They had so much usability. Perfect. I don't care if there's another fighting type coming better in the future that is going to outperform Machamp. Still happy I have my 6 team. Then we have Heracross. I maxed this one out because it's just Heracross. The IVs were okay. I dumped a lot of rare candies into it, and just did that. Currently has bug moves because I was doing a specific raid, but usually I would have counter and then close combat on my Heracross. Now, Blaziken is going to have the second highest attack out of all the fighting. First is going to be Breloom with just 1 point more, but unfortunately for this Pokemon right here, Blaziken, it's not going to be outperforming all of the fighting types. Evolved it and it became this way. I drop it in gyms from time to time. Not really. Probably should start dropping it more because it does have an annoying moveset to go up against, and that dynamic punch just always hits you hard. Alright, so moving on to the next one here, we have Breloom. So this is one of my favorite types. I do have a 100, which I should probably be maxing out very soon. This is going to be your highest attack fighting type Pokemon currently in the game. It's just kind of a glass cannon, which makes its survivability not so long, equaling not as much damage as Machamp, even though it has the same moveset. So great Pokemon, just a high glass cannon. And then you have Poliwrath, which I have like one more power up to go. I'm just not going to do that because there's no point saving my Stardust. Poliwrath, high defense, fun Pokemon. Now we're just getting into lower tier things. This is my 100% right here, which I should not have evolved. Why did I do that? I do not know, unfortunately. And then, of course, we have Hitmonchan maxed out. I've had this powered up for a long time. Yes, it needs one more max out, but like I said, there's no point in doing those. I wish it could show the wins because this thing has over 1,500. I think it's over 2,000 wins. Yeah, pretty crazy. Hitmonlee, another fun Pokemon to use. Okay. And then the Lucky Primate. I think I might have powered this up a few times. Where did I get this from? Oh, good old Scarlet. But didn't power it up quite yet. So, yeah, holding on to that. It's above 2,000 CP. There's no need. All right, so there you go. I have one more powered up here, Future. And why did I max this out? Because I enjoy this type. It's snowing in the game. No kidding. Cool. All right, I want to get out there and grind and do some fun raids. So, yeah, there is my Future. Why did I power it up? Because of PvP in the future. And my predictions for CP calculation and the total number that you have once you pick your team. The lower you have, the better. Not necessarily the lower you have, but picking this is going to make room for higher CP Pokemon for the total number of CP on your team. If that makes sense, hopefully it didn't confuse you. All right. And then, of course, you have Hitmontop. I didn't power this up. I think I did a few power-ups back in the day. And I even have one that's called Top Train. Where is it at? There it is. This is so old. It should be from, yeah. I used to train this with gyms. That's why it's called Top Train, back when you actually do that. So there you go, trainers. Just wanted to show you my fighting type Pokemon. Let's take a look at the shiny Hariyama. And with that said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on fighting type Pokemon. Probably like my 10th one so far because I just can't help it. I really enjoy fighting type Pokemon and they need that spotlight. So thank you for watching, trainers, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.